Steve Bannon's last day as White House strategist was this past Friday, but his departure, that was in the works for weeks. The New York Times says the Chief of Staff, John Kelly, told Bannon he was out last month. The two were working out an amicable departure for mid-August. But after President Trump's response to Charlottesville, where he compared neo-Nazis and white supremacists to the people who were protesting them, well, Bannon's departure became a whole lot messier. Times says Bannon and Kelly clashed over how the president should respond. And as you'd expect, Bannon said the president shouldn't give an inch. Now, all you have to do is take a look at Kelly during the president's rambling press conference to see just how uncomfortable he was with what the president was saying. Kelly was just one of the many people who didn't get along with Bannon. Now, Mr. Bannon, he's back at Breitbart, and he's already making noise. After his abrupt ouster as the president's chief strategist, Steve Bannon wasted no time getting back to being a populist firebrand. "I feel jacked up," he told the Weekly Standard. "Now I'm free. I've got my hands back on my weapons. Someone said, it's Bannon the barbarian. I'm definitely going to crush the opposition." Back at Breitbart, Bannon chaired the evening editorial meeting, threatening to take on a role that, during a rare public appearance, he once urged on conservative activists.
Hold us accountable. Hold us accountable to what we promised. Hold us accountable for delivering on what we promised.
Bannon is making it clear that for now, he's taking aim at what he calls White House Democrats and Republican moderates in Congress, forces that have sought to put the brakes on Trump's agenda.
Rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape of our nation.
Looking back at the president's dark inaugural address, which he helped to write.
This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
Bannon said, quote, "The Trump presidency that we fought for and won is over. We still have a huge movement and we will make something out of this Trump presidency, but that presidency is over," end quote. Certainly many of the president's men are gone. This photo shows the original team gathered around the Resolute desk during Trump's first phone call with Vladimir Putin. Only one of them still works for the White House. That's the Vice President, Mike Pence. Amazing. Joining us now, Jeannie Zaino, professor of political science at Iona College and also senior advisor at the consulting firm Applied Techonomics. Andrew Whitman also joins as senior political correspondent.
See what you miss when you're not here?
My gosh, I literally was, I was watching that press conference that he delivered in Charlottesville.
Like the rest of us with our jaws on the floor?
I turned to somebody else and I was like, am I hearing this the right way? That in 2017, we're hearing a president of the United States defending Nazis in some bizarre world. But Jeannie, that photo really said it all. And then there was one, the one guy he can't fire, the vice president, or I guess I shouldn't say can't. We'll get to poll numbers, which is your wheelhouse next segment. But for now, do you think Bannon's more dangerous in the White House or outside of it?
I think that's the big question. I don't think we know. On the one hand, Bannon has created Trump to be this kind of icon of the movement. And so he may have a difficult time attacking Trump. I think he's going to continue to attack the people in the White House who don't agree with him. I think he might have a tougher time attacking Trump. That said, nothing would surprise me at this point. One thing I would say, that what do we know about Trump, whether it's Roger Stone or other people that he's quote unquote fired, he keeps in close contact with these people. So I suspect, firing Bannon or not, they're going to be in close contact. And I'm not so certain we should think of it as Bannon is out and Trump is moving away. I think they're going to be in close contact. And this, quite frankly, is who the president is. So I don't see it impacting him that much.
I don't think the risk for Trump is that Bannon will attack him outright. I look at Bannon as almost being like either the angel or the devil on Trump's shoulder, and Kelly's trying to moderate him and trying to sort of add some civility to his approach in the White House. And I think Bannon will sort of serve as an appeal and a lure to the right, where we know I think Trump wants to be anyway.
What's he already done? Just since he left, within hours of going out the door, he took shots at Trump's daughter and son-in-law, basically them saying that they're glorified Democrats. And he also went after McMaster's, because of what we're going to hear later on tonight, which is that Trump's going to put more troops into Afghanistan, and he hated the idea. Trump campaigned against the idea, and in prime time tonight, he's going to say that's exactly what he's going to do. Bannon doesn't have to listen to anyone anymore.
Well, I'm sure some of that from Bannon is settling old scores and paying off old debts, and some of it is posturing himself to resume his place in Breitbart.
His daughter and his son-in-law.
Well, but that apparently has been a long-standing feud
But
in this White House. Yes, he did it publicly, which probably doesn't sit well with the president. But maybe Bannon realizes that you can't sway President Trump away from the whispers of Jared Kushner and Ivanka.
I want to read, Jeannie, something Jonathan Chait from the Times, New York Magazine, he wrote recently. He said, a majority of the public as a poll disapproves of Trump's remarks. I'm talking about as it relates to those comments out in Virginia. The mainstream media, most Republican Party professionals, business, and military leaders have all treated the president's defense of the Unite the Right March as an extinction-level event. But the party base is mostly stuck with the president. 2/3 of Republicans approve of what he said. The departure of Steve Bannon from the White House will change very little, given that the president has proved utterly unadvisable. Trump and his party continue to creep ever closer to a destination that once seemed unthinkable, and 3.5 years of his term still remain. Now, you're right that every single person he kicks to the curb somehow, some way still has an audience, even if people try and keep them out of it. That said, though, the crazies or the people who got rolled over or the people who've become politically untenable have been pushed out. If you're Kelly, you can say, all right, I'm looking around the room right now, and I don't have to worry, maybe I got to get rid of Stephen Miller, okay? But once that guy's gone, I don't have to worry about people.
And Gorka, he's got to go.
Both of them.
Not making it easy for me here, okay?
Sorry.
But I'm at least funneling or kind of creating a siphon where they can't get through. Now, I guess it all depends on the president. Just like Chait said, he's unadvisable, but at the same time, do you think he's more reactive to the last person in his ear, and if they can't get in his ear, he's less dangerous, or he's as dangerous as he's going to be? It doesn't matter who talks to him. He's going to go off message without anyone's prompting.
I think the president is going to continue to go off message, and I think we've seen that over and over and over again, regardless of who's in the White House and who's not. I think the real question here is, can he get any kind of win? If he can't get a legislative win, he's in big, big trouble. If he gets a win, and I think either way he continues with the crazy statements, the crazy twittering, all those. Is twittering even a word? I don't even know. Tweeting.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I think that's going to continue, but I do think he needs to have a win. And if he gets that win, I think he's going to be in a much stronger position than people realize. But do I think he's going to get a win? It's going to be very, very tough at this point because the calendar totally works against him.
Can I just, because I was gone for a week, okay?
You were gone for like a year. Look, it all happened.
But my God, if you step back and you do this every night, we all have a habit, all of us, I think, of normalizing the bizarre in the last 7 months. He says one thing Saturday, says another thing Monday, says completely the opposite thing Tuesday. And when he says completely the opposite thing, he's defending Nazis and the KKK. I'm not exaggerating in any way, shape, or form. Everybody and their brother comes out against him. And one of the people in his ear doing it is maybe shown the door. And he's become so toxic to his own. Listen, it's just so nuts what's gone on that even all of us who said, my God, what kind of a president is this got to be? Even if you didn't vote for him and were afraid, I don't think anybody could have forecast this level of dysfunction, Andrew. Every day, at around 4 o'clock, we don't know what's going to happen. And this idea that it was a working vacation, that's a whole nother story. But my point is, my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I find myself flashing back to the last 6 months of the campaign and trying to figure out, is this more dysfunctional than what we saw?
But we all kid ourselves that somehow, some way he was going to become presidential when it was over.
Yeah.
Shame on us.
Yeah, I mean, he is who we thought he was. And it doesn't look like he's taking to being presidential, and it doesn't look like he's gotten any awareness of the office. A lot of people thought when he saw the Oval Office, out of respect to the office, or all of a sudden the weight of the job, or the history that comes with it, but no, apparently not. It is a bizarre new world, and we do normalize it only because we have to try to analyze it on a daily basis and figure out what it means and where it's going. And so things that we, 6 months ago or a year ago would have been ridiculous to talk about on the national stage, all of a sudden have to get serious attention and serious analysis. When he started equating and, taking down Lee's statue with taking down Washington's statue, I was shocked that led to 3 or 4 days of actual, honest-to-goodness intellectual debate on whether there is any value in that, and I mean, that's where we are.
Okay, coming up next, I promised you there's some poll numbers out here. You have to see these, and we're going to talk about the consequences of them. Brand new numbers out here, and they don't just focus on the national numbers. Those 3 key battleground states that literally put that guy on your screen into office, well, there's new numbers out, and they're terrible for our commander-in-chief. We'll talk about that, concerns of Republicans, and where this might lead for this president going forward. Stay with us.